A classic puff pastry may seem complicated, but all it needs is time. Let's first make the flour dough, or détrempe. In a bowl, add 250 grams of AP flour, 150 grams of cake flour, 7 grams of salt, and 8 grams of sugar. Then mix 6 grams of apple cider vinegar or white vinegar into 210 ml of water. Swirl slightly and add it to dry ingredients. I like to start mixing with a fork till the liquid is somewhat incorporated. Then use my hands to knead till the dough just comes together. This is dry dough, so don't worry if it's not smooth. Shape it nicely and wrap it in plastic wrap and chill it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Next, let's make the brush or butter block. Use chilled butter. Anywhere between 400 to 600 grams works, but starting on the lower end is easier to handle. Cut the butter into 6 even pieces. Grab a Ziploc bag measuring 22 by 18 centimeters and evenly line the butter pieces inside. Push out the air and seal the bag. Use a rolling pin to roll the butter flat, filling all the corners. Ensure the block has an even thickness. Then refrigerate it for 15 to 20 minutes. Take it out, cut a slider, and slit 2 adjacent sides. Peel the top layer open. The butter registers about 10 degrees Celsius. I'm aiming for 12 to 13. So by the time I've handled the détrempe, the butter will have warmed to ideal temperature. Note my kitchen temperature is 18 degrees, puff pastry friendly. Now let's work on flour dough after it's been chilled. Place on a well-floured surface, move it around to prevent it from sticking, and flour the top, and flatten dough slightly with your hands. Then use a rolling pin to mark a cross on the dough. Roll out the corners, then shape it into a rectangle, aiming for a size of 37 by 23 centimeters. The vinegar weakens gluten, but you should still feel resistance of the dough at this stage, but that's normal. Place a butter sheet toward one end, leaving about 1 centimeter border. Lightly pull the corners of the dough to just cover the butter. Fold the other end over the butter. This creates 1/3 of the dough folded over the butter, leaving the uncovered butter the remaining 1/3. Carefully fold the 2/3 over the rest, sealing the edges to encase the butter. Use a rolling pin to gently press the dough to spread slightly, and turn it 90 degrees and repeat. At this stage, the butter in the dough should have similar plasticity for 2 reasons. It makes rolling easier, and it prevents butter from shattering, which can cause problems during baking. Roll the dough to about 40 centimeters in length, shape it nicely, trim the ends to remove the excess dough. Brush off any remaining flour, fold 1/3 of the dough inward. Brush again, and continue folding over the last third. Brush, then wrap it in cling film and chill it for 30 minutes or more if needed. Keeping the dough cold but pliable is crucial for a puff pastry. Well-floured dough. By the way, for the last fold, we ended up this way, and this time, turn it 90 degrees and start the second turn process. Roll the dough evenly with the same thickness. Remember to move the bottom occasionally in case it sticks. Roll it out to about 40 by 18 centimeters. Repeat the folding process, dusting off excess flour. If you feel the dough still have resistance when rolling out, wrap the dough and chill it again for 30 minutes. Don't forget to make a second turn before working on the dough. The rest of the process is just repeat. In the early stages, it's important not to rush. Perform 2 single turns first to allow the gluten to relax, which makes rolling easier. From the 3rd turn onward, if the dough feels manageable, you can make another turn without a chilling in between. After the second fold, chill the dough for 2 hours. This approach saves time and allows you to focus on other tasks instead of monitoring the dough every 30 minutes. Depending on the purpose, puff pastry can be made with 3 to 6 turns or even more. If you prefer fewer layers, stop where you desire, refrigerate the dough. If your goal is 6 turns, just repeat the steps. More folds will make the pastry flakier and more tender, but it might slightly reduce the rise. It also requires more care of the dough. After the 2-hour rest, repeat the process for 2 more turns. For the final turn, flip the dough so the rough side is on top. Give it a good brush and fold it into thirds. This step is optional, but helps the dough look neater. At this stage, the puff pastry is done unless your recipe requires additional folds. See, we started with 2 butter layers over butter encasement and performed 6 folds, each at 3 layers. So we ended up with 1,458 butter layers. Chill the dough for 2 hours to overnight before using. Freeze the dough if you don't intend to use it right away. Puff pastry can be used in many dishes. Roll it out as topping and bake. It puffs beautifully, even with pre-rolled offcuts. You can smear cheese, drizzle tomato sauce, top with sausage, roll it up and bake. That's a party starter. Or use it as base. Add cheese, cooked vegetables, and crack an egg on top, followed by salt and pepper after part baking for a delicious breakfast. You can even make sweet twisters with sprinkled sugar as a coffee snack. Or just play with ideas, like baking some snakes, since the year of snake is coming. The possibilities are endless. Just use your imagination. Ciao.